picked to be the potential national champions. They've got size all over the court, two outstanding bigs. They got big wings that can score. Alkins makes them so much better, and we had our hands full. I thought early on in the game we played well, and they were not a team we were going to shut down. We needed to score and score with them. When we missed a couple of point-blank layups, maybe 6 or 7 really wide-open shots, Alkins came into the game, and the 3 threes really burst the game over in the first half, and there was never a game after that. So we didn't get a chance to play with them and keep the pressure on them because we couldn't score the ball as well as they could once that stretch got away from us and everything. But they're pretty dominant. I thought we did a decent job at times on them, but they can get away from you so quickly and so fast. Inside, outside, with threes. They got great rim protectors. They're just a really, really good basketball team, very well coached basketball team.
You took Malachi out of the starting 5 the first time of his career. What was kind of the reasoning behind that?
That's between me and Malachi. He's going to be great. I thought he responded extremely well with his 11 points and 11 assists. And even, I think, with his missed layup, and he probably had 6 or 7 really great looks at the bucket. He could have been easy a 20-point, 11 rebound night tonight. So everything's fine with him. He'll be great.
Expect him back in the starting 5 Sunday, or just with DeAndre, and you guys doubled him a few times, but he's such a good passer out of the double teams. When they're hitting the threes, does that just make them that much better?
I don't know if any of you ever get the opportunity. Maybe they got a Disneyland cutout of Shaq. If you ever run into Shaq, go up alongside of him, and then you'll understand what it was like guarding him. Because that is a big individual. He's not just tall; his arms are so long, and then he's got the athleticism. So it's very difficult to double team him. It's very difficult to put any pressure on his jump shot. It's very difficult to stop his jump hook, and it's very difficult to stop any lobs up above because he's such a dominant player and great athlete on top of it. So you can see why there's easily 3 first-round draft picks on that team, and he might be the guy that could go number 1 or number 2. He's one of those true centers that you don't see anymore in basketball. Now, the NBA has gotten away from everything, and everybody wants to shoot threes now, but that is a low-post presence that can go outside and guard a three-point shooter, but is a load to guard for you inside, and especially with his mid-range game as well, too.
Last year against these guys, it was kind of another lopsided game, but you weren't as pleased with the effort last year. Were you happy with the competition and the way the guys competed and fought?
I thought, and we watched the game, in fact, down at their place last year, we really battled. We were in the game until about 7 minutes to go in the game, and we were right there in that environment with 16,000, 17,000 people sitting on top of you. I think we competed as well at home last year. In this game, I thought we competed really well in the first part of the game, but when the shots didn't fall, I don't know if we competed as hard as we could have. Obviously, if the shots are falling, it's a much closer game. There's much more energy to play with and everything, particular team going through what we're going through right now. So it's just important for us to look at who they are, particularly those guys with aspirations of playing at that next level, understand how big and how physical guys are. It's good for us from a recruiting perspective, but then you got to move the game out the way, get in the training room, get healthy. We needed a day off. We didn't have a chance to do that. That comes tomorrow, and get ready for Arizona State on Sunday.
First half, you guys, like you said, the missed layup chances, you guys were 2 for 8. You feel like if you kind of got those chances to fall, it could have been a different first half, in your opinion?
I think it would have been a closer first half. And again, they tend to wear on you with their size and their athleticism. But certainly, we could have made it more of an entertaining game, I would call it, if the ball had a fall and then all of a sudden you start a second half and you can keep within striking distance, then the pressure turns up on them, on the other side. We could never do that. We want to be in striking distance coming down that last 7 or 8 minute mark and then let the pressure build on them. They can't afford to come in and lose to Washington State. It would have been a different dynamic of game coming down the stretch, but it never got to that because of their ability to dominate the paint. 52 points in the paint, shoot 60% from the field, 60-something from the 3 in the first half. That's hard to play against when you're not shooting the ball.
And then what did you see from Robo tonight? 25 points and had 8 on him most of the time.
I thought he did a nice job of attacking him. I thought he did a nice job of changing the trajectory on his shot at times and to score over him. 3 rebounds. We should have been a little bit more dominant on the other end. The 4 fouls, I wish he'd been a little bit more dominant on the other end, but offensively, I thought he was good, but we didn't do enough defensively to neutralize. They got too many easy buckets inside. And with that kind of size, you cannot concede the low post with 2 feet from the bucket. You got a hard time stopping those guys. We could have done and worked a little bit harder down that low block to neutralize some of that, but offensively, I thought he was really good. He played a nice game.
Coach, you might have been aware of this, but tonight your team set the record for the most three-pointers made in a single season, surpassing the 2010-2011 squad that had Klay Thompson. What does that say about the team? And I know you guys have some young players who still have a few years left, so kind of what does that say about where they're at in their progression?
I think, and with this whole team coming back with Drake, and Drake not being a big scorer and not a three-point shooter, and then what we have in CJ coming into Ellerby coming in, and what we're looking to add, we could really be a good offensive team as we grow up. And you see the improvement of Malachi from freshman year to sophomore year. Look at the improvement from Robo from sophomore year to junior year. Who are those next couple of guys? We teach, we coach, we bring players along. That's who we are. We're not going to recruit McDonald All-Americans that are walking in the door here. We get players here, we have to develop them, and that takes time. But if those guys stay with it and the improvements come from the Carter Skaggs, the Quentin Hensons, the Arinze Cheatums, and how about Cooper that got in the game tonight? I thought he did a nice job in the game. If those improvements come, we have a chance to have a really nice squad coming down this stretch when we talk about next year. But I don't want to look at that yet. It's still very important that we get wins out of this team, that they learn how to handle themselves. We tinker with the lineup. We'll tinker with it again if need be to keep the interest up, to keep the energy we need to keep it, to keep the focus where we need to keep it, to get this team along. This team has some wins in it. And going towards the tournament can be a very dangerous team. So you keep coaching, you keep prodding, you keep tinkering with things until we get them where we need to get them to.
Coach, the fact that they shot so well from the outside, did it make it that much more difficult to try to double down low because of that?
The doubling wasn't even part of the game plan. We did that kind of naturally because there's just no way you can double team them because Trier is so good, and if Alkins played, he's so good. They shoot it so well. And the fact that they got hot and really were on their A game, as I call it, there wasn't a lot you could do because you're outmatched talent-wise underneath that kind of size. And you start doubling, the size was big enough to throw over the top of the double team and find those shooters on the weak side, which they did with Akins 2 or 3 times, and his threes really hurt us as we're trying to double team and take away the low post. Now all of a sudden you go out and you sit on the 3-point shooters, now you leave yourself one-on-one inside. Those 2 bigs are just too good. They're too poised, too polished, too talented to stop down there one-on-one.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.